The topic for today is on teaching, learning, and evaluation, the criteria 2, which is a very, very important criteria. And then my presentation will flow this way. I'll be just introducing what is this teaching learning, and then specifically about the 3 methods of teaching learning I'll be focusing on. And then I'll go to the criteria 2 key indicators and metrics which are there under that. And then I would like to conclude. This is the flow of my presentation. So as we can see from the slide that the 7 criteria, among all the 7 criteria, the autonomous colleges and the affiliated colleges, teaching, learning, and evaluation is given the highest weightage. So if you see, university gives weightage to research, innovation, and extension where it is 250, whereas autonomous colleges it is 300 marks, and affiliated colleges it is 350, whether it is UG or PG. So with this as a background, seeing that the weightage given to teaching, learning, and evaluation, so the presentation for today will tell you how important, where you can focus, because if you are going to get less marks in teaching and learning and evaluation, the score, that is your NAAC grade, is going to come down to a drastic extent if you don't focus on this, right? So teaching, learning is core of your education system. They tell it is a heart, right? Everything depends upon the way you transact what is given as an input. So this teaching learning, we should see to a best extent how the students are going to gain knowledge with whatever prior knowledge is there, what is the addition that we are giving to them when they enter into the portals of the college. Now, we also have to see that how best we are going to train them, not just locally or nationally, but internationally. How are we going to train them? And then we are going to see how to enhance their employability skills. Through our teaching learning process, how are we going to do that? And then whatever we do, now we should see that we are in line with our vision of the college, if we take our university, what are the vision and what is the objective?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, your voice is low, ma'am. Can you please just
Yes, my
check?
voice is low. How is it now?
Now it is fine, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Maybe the speaker, which is a little bit low, now I see that it is near my mouth. Right. Now I'm okay, right, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you can see that whatever the process that you undertake in a college, the teaching learning process, it should be in line with the vision, mission, and the objectives of the institution. Now we know that the infrastructure resources will be of great use when we are transacting or delivering the curriculum to the students. So teacher with its qualifications, his experience, his or her experience matters a lot, because her personality, her knowledge, her experience will tell how he or she is going to deliver to the student. Because this teaching learning environment that is being provided by the institution, by the college is very, very important. Keeping in mind the course objectives or the learning objectives, because we are in the era of outcome-based education, right? We need to see that what are the expectations that we are having that students should learn. With what objectives are we teaching a particular course? And then what are the things that we are expecting the students to learn? Now, that is what teaching and learning. Learning is a process where a student acquires a permanent acquisition of knowledge, is what is called as a learning, right? Now, are we able to give the relevant curriculum or relevant thing to the students? Are we seeing that whatever curriculum is being framed, are we able to deliver to that extent where the student is able to gain new knowledge? Is the student internalizing that particular process of what we are teaching? That is important. Now, in order to see that how the student is learning, right, we have this assessment. That's the teaching, learning, and assessment is important with OBE system. Curriculum, teaching, learning, assessment. So this is a cycle where we know what we are teaching, whether they are able to get it. That is what outcomes we are trying to see through the assessment. What learning expectations we are framed, the outcomes, what is that we are achieving. So this is what the criteria focuses on. So earlier it was like a teacher-centered, very passive. Now it is not that way. It should be a learner-centered, active process, where a teacher plays a role of Earlier, it was the teacher used to play a role of a giver or an evaluator, and then now the teacher is not that. She plays like a facilitator role. She coaches, she guides them, and then she sees that not just transmitting the knowledge, but she sees that how the students are going to synthesize.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, again, there is some disturbances in your voice, ma'am.
Is it?
Yes, ma'am. Can you please check, ma'am?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it low?
Yes, ma'am. It is low, and we are able to feel some disturbances, ma'am.
1 second.
Yes, ma'am.
How I am now? Is it okay?
Ma'am, now it is fine, ma'am. But while you are giving the delivery, there is some disturbances in your voice, ma'am.
Is it? Okay. Let me try. Let me try now. I'll go ahead. You can just stop me if anything is there.
So I think you have to check with the speakers, ma'am.
Speaker? Now?
Yeah.
Now it is not. Now it's not clear.
Now it is fine, ma'am.
Fine. Shall I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So now, as I'm telling that, as a teacher, here the role was just transmitting the knowledge. Now we should see that. 1 second. Is that the notification is giving a problem? Let me try forward. Yeah. So as I told you earlier, the teacher was just a knowledge transmitter. Now the teacher has to see how the students can synthesize, integrate the knowledge. So it is not, the goal is not the right answer. The goal is how the students are going to ask a better questions, and how the students are going to learn from the errors is very, very important now. So it was like earlier the teaching and assessment was separate, two things were separate. But now both teaching and assessment are together, they are clubbed. Every day when the teacher goes to the class, he or he has to check what he or she is
Excuse me, ma'am.
yeah.
Ma'am, can you just connect through the mobile and start presenting, ma'am? I'll present the PPT from my end.
I'll present it through the mobile, I'll enter into it.
Yes, ma'am. Or else I'll be presenting the PPT from my end, ma'am, if there is any issue. Ma'am, I think you have to unmute, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We are able to hear you, ma'am.
Very good. Okay. So, it's clear now, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
sorry for that inconvenience. I'm just going forward and hope I'm very clear to you all.
Yes, ma'am, you can continue.
Am I clear? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah. So, this is what. So, from the teaching, learning, and evaluation, now the focus is on outcome-based education, as I am mentioning to you. So, now we have to see through the teaching, learning process while transacting in the curriculum in the classroom. Are the students able to gain this particular level? Is it the creating level, evaluating level, analyzing level? These are higher order thinking skills. Or is that we are just focusing on remembering, understanding, and applying? So, what are the levels at which are we transacting the syllabus so that students gain this knowledge, this higher order thinking skills? For that, what are the types of teaching learning methods that we have to employ? How the environment of teaching learning should be there in the organization? We shall be discussing further along with the criterions that are there, along with the key indicators that are mentioned in the NAAC. Now, in our college, as an autonomous college, now our approach to teaching learning is we try to see how to assess the student level, and we see how we can enhance the student learning and how we can assist them in student preparation. And then we try to see not only just instilling the knowledge, but also see that how the skills are imparted, how the right knowledge and attitude, values are instilled in the students. And as we know that it is mandatory that we should have a mentoring system and then see that a holistic development of a student happens. And finally, through our learning, teaching learning methods, that is through experiential learning methods, participative methods, problem solving methods, we see that we develop a student as a lifelong learner and see that he's informed with everything, he's a responsible and well-rounded individual. This is how we approach in our college the teaching learning methodology. Now, how do we identify this teaching learning, learning styles of the students? Now, there are various tests. We can test them on communication skills, which is very, very important because a student, if he has to be employable, then he need to know how to communicate well. Decision-making skills, like this is an example which I put. So, if we just click this, now there are different, what we tell the websites where you can use these sites in order to test the skills of the students at the initial level. So this is one of the example I just put. In that way, we should see that how we are going to diagnose the learning styles of the students when they enter the college portal. It can be related to meeting the deadlines. It can be related to numerical calculation ability. So you need to formulate your questionnaire in such a way where we can assess the learning styles of the students. Once we identify the learning styles, then we will be able to know what type of methodologies that we can use in order to see that the students reach the highest order of thinking skills, right? Now, let us take the three basic learning methods which NAAC mentions. The first one is the problem-based learning. Now, in the problem-based learning, now how do you see that the students learn through that? Now, give them any challenging problem, any society-related problem, they will start thinking. It can be any case study, a live case study, you can think where it has not been solved, and then make the students to split into groups and give that problem. Let them brainstorm that, and then they come out with various ideas. So they should know while going through the problem, what are the facts about that? What are the different ideas they can come out so that they can go about implementing those solutions. Now, through that exercise, what is that they are trying to learn? And then we should see that how the students identify these learning needs and how they're going to share the findings of the research. That itself makes the student to think critically, right? So we are giving an opportunity for the students where the student can learn well, right? So this is what we need to see that. Then coming to the next method, now if you see the participative learning method, teacher is very passive and student is very active, where we are making them to participate in various, like it can be community related activities, it can be related to surveys, it can be related to any project, a mini project or what is that, a major project you can give where the students can work for 45 days or 3 months. And field visits, brainstorming sessions, workshops, role play. Now, when you try to conduct such type of activities in the class, the students will be able to participate with whatever knowledge they have. They keep sharing with them. It makes them to think more independently, and then it is like a teacher becomes directive to participative when he is trying to engage the students in such type of activities. Right. So the teacher becomes more complementary rather than supplementary. So along with the teacher, the student is trying to learn independently with whatever knowledge he has gained theoretically. Now coming to the third type, which is called as experiential learning. Now experience what he gets through the direct experiences, like he develops knowledge, skills and value by interacting with others, right? While doing something in the lab, while going outside, it can be through an internship, right? It can be to a workshop where a student gets hands-on experience, right? And then where he's asked to prepare a prototype or something, right? And then you can also conduct some add-on courses where they try to use the latest technologies, where they themselves will try to implement them, right? So in these activities where the student can gain some knowledge, the skills, and also along with the skills, they also will like to reflect upon it and learn certain values. So what you're trying to do with these exercises is you're giving an opportunity for the students to take certain initiative and make certain decisions. And when you're making a student to take initiative and make certain decisions, you are making that student to be accountable also for the results. So in this way, you're making the student to learn something, life skills you're imparting to them. This is what the NAAC also sees. How are we training the students to get the life skills? So you make the students to engage intellectually, creatively, emotionally, socially. So all these you are making the students to do while they are working together on the project, right? Now, these are the three methods which NAAC is seeing. These are the different types of activities that you can do in your classes. Now, evaluation, there are two ways where you can have formative evaluation and summative evaluation. Formative is where you conduct certain internals, like where you try to test the student comprehension. At the end of, you can conduct a slip test also, quiz also you can conduct at the end of every unit or at the end of every topic. That is what formative evaluation you are doing. Now, summative evaluation is at the end of your course, right? At the end of your whatever assignment or a project is given, at the end, when you're trying to evaluate them, that is what is called a summative evaluation at the end of the semester when you're going to do that. So, this is how whatever the gap that is there between the teaching and learning, you are trying to build by evaluating that, try to identify that, and try to fill the gap wherever it is there. Now, how are you going to evaluate them? By the outcomes that has been achieved. Program outcomes, program specific outcomes, course outcomes. These should be there also on your website to tell that if you just see this post, which is there in our website, where we have given clearly program educational objectives, then program outcomes, right? And then where we give them program specific outcomes, and then where we try to tell the student, right? These are the things that we are trying to see that at the end of your course, at the end of your program, that you need to get this, right? And then when you're talking about program specific outcomes, you are trying to select BCom honors. As a BCom course, what is that they are expected to gain? But when you tell about BCom honors, being specialized, as you're telling honors or IT or professionals, so what is that extra thing that you want that particular student to gain doing a BCom course? So there is specific program skills they should be able to gain at the end of the 3 years of program. Now, these things have to be spelled very, very clearly, which NAAC is also expecting, right? Now, the attainment is like you can have a direct attainment or an indirect attainment. In direct attainment is where you conduct an internal assessment and your external evaluation is being done. Indirect is where you try to take an exit feedback, right? So based on that, you give a weightage for the direct and indirect, some weightage for exit feedback. How much is it, 10% or 20% that you're going to give? Based on that, you're going to evaluate the course outcomes. Now, the level of attainment can vary from college to college, university to university, where you can specify your own levels of attainment. Like suppose we tell that a student has to achieve a level of 3, then it means that 75% of students can score more than 40%, then you tell a level of 3, highest level is achieved. So whether all the students have achieved the level of 3, we need to evaluate and check. So this will depend upon the student intake and then trying to fix the percentage of students getting above 40% marks. So like level 1 here I've chosen as 60 and 70 and 75. For your college, you can choose accordingly based upon the intake and based upon the performance of it. You can give that. And gradually every year based upon that particular batch, you can give your levels, right? Now let us go to the criteria 2, where just I've given introduction. Now we'll just go to the criteria 2. We have 7 key indicators under the teaching, learning and evaluation, right? As you can see, university and autonomous colleges and affiliated colleges, you can see 50 is maximum for autonomous colleges, and that is 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, 2.6 and 2.7 is 50, right? So where these are the very important things where we need to focus on. And similarly, if you see whether it is autonomous or affiliated colleges, you can see the maximum marks are 60, where teacher profile and student performance and learning outcomes and student satisfaction survey is very, very important, whether it is autonomous college or whether it's affiliated college. Now, if you see these key indicators, you can find a system, that is input, process and output. Input is the student enrollment coming from various backgrounds, and then the teacher profile and the quality is an input, right? And then this input through your process, that is your teaching learning process, your evaluation process, you are trying to get the outcome that is being desired. That is your student performance and learning outcomes, right? So you are going to verify whether the students are really happy to the survey that is being conducted, which the NAAC does that. So that is student satisfaction survey, which carries the maximum marks. So with which intention, with which expectations are we delivering? Are we able to achieve that or not? Now, going to the quantitative and qualitative metrics under the key indicators, you can see this. I would like you all to focus on the teaching, learning and evaluation. We have more quantitative metrics where 11, I'm focusing on the autonomous colleges, where 11 are the quantitative metrics and 6 are the qualitative metrics. So we need to see how best to get 190 marks, that is where we are quantifying it, and then we should see that how to achieve that 190. Now let me go in detail about what are those metrics which are having the quantitative and what are those which are having qualitative. We shall discuss each one of them as we proceed further. Now for the 300 marks, which is the weightage given for the autonomous colleges, now 2.1.1, 2.1.2, 2.2.2 and 4.1, 4.2 under the second criteria, 4.3 and 4.4, 5.1 and 5.2, 6.2 and 7.4. These are the quantitative metrics, as you can see. Let us discuss all these qualitative and quantitative one by one. What is that you need to do under each of these metrics? Now, while writing the qualitative answers, you need to see how to highlight in your organization or in your institution how it is being effectively implemented, and its outcome need to be reflected in the qualitative answers. Now we need to see maximum how to put facts and figures rather than just writing theoretically, right? And you have to show how that flow of the answer is there continuously in that particular question, whatever you have writing it. And then you also have to try to add some future plans. This is what we are doing it. This is what we have achieved it. This is what we are going to do in future. And what is that uniqueness, that practice that you have in your institution, in your organization? That uniqueness should be depicted in the answer that you write, in qualitative answers that you write. And you have to be aware that what all supportive documents that you are going to have, it should be on the institutional website only. No, you should not go for Google Drive or Amazon or third-party services are not going to be accepted. So you have to see that there's a particular thing where under the institution website you are able to upload all the supporting documents. And what facts and figures that you show should be matched with the All Indian Survey of Higher Education and NARF data related to students and staff on rolls. So that it should match with that because finally NAAC is going to take from there. And then, so if your questions expect current year data, you have to be prepared for the total assessment period, or suppose you're submitting an SSR for 5 years, for all the 5 years, you should be prepared because anytime NAT can ask anything, you should have that records when DVV is there. And naturally, when they come to the college, they'll be seeing all the records, but when DVV they are asking, you should be able to produce any year record of any student or any faculty. These things you should have in your mind. Now, in our college, this is how we go about the way we prepare and adhere. Now, when you are doing the teaching learning process, you need to have a clarity about who is taking what, that is timetable with the schedule activities, and then have the subject allotment, a unit planner, have the records of that, documentation of that, how you are going to teach, what activities you're going to do under each of the course for that particular batch, have study material or lab manuals or question bank be there, and see that what all rules and regulations related to examinations or related to the clubs that you have, related to the events that you have a handbook where the calendar, along with the calendar, we are going to publish it. That is what we do. And the almanac and the annual planner, which every head of the department is going to prepare. These things we have initially before the students come. This is what we prepare. And we need to see that how are we going to have a record of these things, right? Academic record, teaching diary. This is where we have a teaching, some people call it as work diary. Every day what you teach in your class, we prepare, we maintain, each faculty maintains a diary. What is the content that you deliver? What methodology that you have used? And if you have taken any specific material or anything, from where did you take that material? And every week we submit this to the head of the institution to check whether these things have been done or not, or whether the progress of the teaching is happening according to the schedule that they have submitted. And then attendance is being monitored through SMS, and then syllabus completion statement. Before every internal one, before we check the syllabus completion, whether it has been completed or not, 1 week or 10 days ahead. And if anything is there, no, if any extra classes need to be taken, we try to accommodate that. And we try to see that how are we meeting all the stakeholders. Then after the exams are done, the result analysis is done, so that whether whatever the teaching learning process has been done, whether we are able to get the required results or not. So in that way, the monthly appraisal and the feedback on the teaching learning process is being done, so that we know how we are progressing in this teaching. So this is what we do in our college. Now let us take the first one, that is 2.1, the student enrollment and profile, which carries 20 marks. Now if you want to see the benchmarks, which I'll be telling you as I proceed, what are the benchmarks for each of these key indicators and the metrics? You can also visit these two sites where you can see in detail. Later I'll be giving to you. Now 2.1.1 is related to average enrollment percentage. So average of the last 5 years you have to take, where you need to have the data related to the number of students admitted and number of sanctioned seats. Now you need to have a documents related to the sanction of intake approved by the affiliating university competent authority. And then that is important document which you need to also upload in your website about the sanction of intake approved. And then the letters indicating the sanction and the admitted seats of every program, those letters should be signed by the competent authority, that is the head of the institution. And the final admission list as published by HEI, and it should be endorsed by the competent authority. These are the documents that you need to submit for 2.1.1. So how we are going to calculate percentage per year, have the total number of students admitted and total number of sanctions into 100. I think here most of the colleges, they secure 10 points for that, because until and unless no, they have some issues related to the admission where they are not being promoted, or the reputation of the college. No, they have to see all that, how they're going to no, market that, and see if awareness need to be created about your institution. Then I think you are going to get the full strength if you do that. So in that way, 2.1.1, yes. And then the second one is 2.1.2, where it is average percentage of seats should be filled against the different categories like SC, ST, OBC. You have to mention, right? How many seats are earmarked for that reserve category as per the government order, and how many students you got admitted under that reserve category. So you need to calculate per year and then take the average for the 5 years. For this, the documents that you need to submit is from the state and the central government, a copy of letter indicating that these are the categories of the students that you need to admit, so much percentage of the students. And then final admission list signed by the principal. And what is that you are going to submit as an abstract extract to the OBC or SC or ST cell every year, how many students you got admitted, and then number of seats earmarked for that reserve category. These documents should be clearly mentioned. So there are some extra seats that we are going to show. It should not be added to the regular list. Now, these things you need to calculate under 2.1.2, which carries 10 marks. Now, let us go for 2.2, category to student diversity. Now, catering to student diversity, which is 30 marks. Now, 2.2.1, where it is the qualitative metrics. This is a very important metric where it carries 15 marks, where you have to describe about 500 words, where how you're going to identify the slow learners and how are you going to identify the advanced learners. Now, based on that, you are going to arrange certain special programs for both slow learners and the advanced learners. Now, when you're identifying the slow learners, you are trying to identify, like through admission, when you're counseling them. Then when they write the entrance test for the programs, you conduct an entrance test. From there, you can be able to assist through the classroom interaction. Then through the internal marks also, you'll be able to identify the slow learners. Once you identify them, you need to conduct certain special programs like bridge courses or some special induction program for those people, remedial coaching, or give some question banks, some material, extra material, so that they start understanding that. And you need to also, through the mentor-mentee system, you can also counsel them periodically so that they improve. Now, and for the advanced learners, you have various things like, you can make the head of a club, or you can make them class representatives or S2AC member, or send them to special internship programs, or you can give some research-oriented projects, you can call them, and then make them a part of certain committees, right? And then you can make the advanced learner to teach a slow learner, have a peer group learning system. And then you can form subject-related student societies and organize certain activities where these slow learners can pick up. In that way, advanced learner special programs can be conducted. So when you are having a supportive document, you can have a list of advanced and slow learner notices related to various programs, attendance, and then feedback from these people. Then success stories, like how a particular slow learner has become has improved a lot in the due course of time from first year to second year to third year. And then have a couple of photographs related to that when you're conducting certain programs for them. And all the records must be maintained separately, year-wise. You need to have that. This documentation, you should keep it. Coming to 2.2.2, where a student full-time ratio, teacher ratio. Now, total number of students enrolled in the institution in that particular academic year, and total full-time teachers when you take the ratio. And then for this documents, you need to have a certified list of full teachers where it, for that particular latest completed year, where it should be signed by the principal. And then also you need to have the total list of the students where it should be signed by the competent authority. And when you're telling full-time teachers, they should be taking 90% of the workload. Then only we tell them as a full-time teachers, right? And then Coming to the 2.3, which is teaching learning process, that is 50 marks, where you need to concentrate on, where I explained to you about the three student-centric methods: participative, problem solving, and experiential learning. Now, these methods, you need to prepare the description of these activities, what you're doing, and these activities, whatever you're doing, should be reflected in the unit planner or session planner which the teacher prepares. And they also have to get reflected in the teaching diary, what I told you, or a work diary that you maintain. Because there should be a mapping everywhere, whatever you do. And if any brochures or notices that are there, those things you need to have a record, and the participants, how many people participated in that. Suppose you're taking them for a field visit, then have the list, and like you can have a banner or a notice of that relating to that, and how many students participated in that. And then for every event or activity that you do, you need to see that there's an outcome for it. What exactly the objective is there, and what is the outcome that you have achieved? And feedback from various students, their experiences. Okay, you need to record their experience, how they felt, did they learn something from that? And you need to prepare material such as reports, PPTs, posters, whatever students have prepared for that, whatever they gain, that documentation also you better to have it, because they can show that how the students learned through that, whatever you asked, and the assignment it can be, or a poster presentation it can be. That material also you can have as a documentation. And then if you want, you can have some selected testimonials, as I told you, like a feedback from a batch of students telling that how each of these methods, whether it's participative or a problem solving experiential method, help them to enhance their knowledge levels or skill levels, or whether they have enhanced their critical thinking skills or problem solving skills, how it has enhanced. You have some testimonials from students. And then coming to the teachers' use of ICT. Now, every year you need to see that even in the teaching learning plan, the students have to mention that what is the ICT tool that they're going to use for that particular concept, or for that particular content that they're going to deliver. And then they need to see that how they're going to, like, for example, they're using an open source, or what is that they are using it. And if they're having licensed version, what is that licensed version they are using when they are teaching, while they're teaching that, what is that they're using as a tool in order to impart that knowledge to the students or skill to the students. And see that this list of ICT tools are available in the institution website also. Right, where you can have a dedicated website or a web page where you tell, like it can be an LMS also, where you can link it to the LMS, where you can show how, what are the tools that are used for a specific program or a course, describing which teacher has used what type of tool. And then if while using any photographs are taken, you see that the photographs are also there. In that way, you can show how you are using this ICT while teaching in the while teaching your particular subject or a course. Now, coming to 2.3.3, the ratio of students, mentor, having a mentor to the students. And then while having the mentor list, see that the list that you prepare is being approved by the head of the institution, and you develop a form which has a basic information about a particular mentee where you can track. In our college, we have a mentor and mentee book. A book is maintained where we write about every mentee, that mentee details, where not only his background, his education background, his parents' information, about his contact details and everything. We also have a column where there is internal marks and his hobbies, and then by interacting with them, what is that, their expectations, their goals, what are their future plans. We have dedicated 3 to 4 pages about that particular mentee, and every faculty, suppose I have some 30 students with me, so 30 students, I have a record in that particular book I have, right? In that way, we maintain that. So, and then while we are allotting the mentor to a particular set of students, we need to have a copy of circular. That documentation should be there, that these are the mentees that have been allotted to this particular mentor. And when we are having a discussion with the mentee, have some photographs that are clicked, so that we have regular meetings that are being conducted with the particular mentee, or any issues a particular mentee has raised. Have a record of those issues and how you help that particular mentee in order to, how you guided and then supported him in order to overcome those issues or challenges that they're facing during their stay in the institution. And then have the attendance recorded for the during the meetings, and signatures. You take the signature of student that he or she has attended on that particular day or interacted with that particular mentee, and this was the transaction or interaction that they had while they are discussing. So, and then only full-time teachers are considered for the appointment of the mentors. And then a web page should be there where it describes that this is the mentor what system with this objectives and with this aims the particular organization or the particular institute has. And then highlight any success story if you have any success story really where there's a lot of brought a lot of changes in that meeting. That success story also you can highlight. Then 2.3.4 is the preparation and adherence of academic calendar and teaching plans, where it carries 10 marks. Have your academic calendar or almanac uploaded, and then have your teaching plan, that is unit planners or where you can, or course planners, what you taught, where you can upload this for your 5 years. And then this is a qualitative metrics where you can write a write-up that how you adhere to that, and then how the teaching plans are being monitored by the institution head and everything. And then what does the teaching plan include in detail, you can write about it. And then this is what you can see. If your enrollment is more than 90%, you're going to get 4 marks out of 4. And then if you're able to fill the seats more than 80%, you're going to get 4. Otherwise, you can see if the percentage is low, you're going to get 0, 1, 2, 3 based upon the percentage. But the highest target is you have to see this 4. And student full-time ratio, they tell for the PG level, it should be 1:15. And then if it is less than 1:20, if it's 20:1, that is 20 students and 1 faculty, then if it's lesser than that, then you're going to get 4, right? So, and then that is what is the, where you need to achieve the benchmarks. If you are going to achieve this, this is the score that you're going to get. Now, coming to the teacher profile and quality. Now, we are going to see what is the experience in the college. The full-time teachers have the teaching experience in the college. Now, documents that you need to upload is the sanction letters indicating the number of posts that are there and how many you have filled. And then it should be a subject-wise or a department-wise, the number of posts that are available and then how many you have filled. And then these list of faculty should be authenticated by the head of the institution. And as I mentioned to you earlier, the teachers who are going to have more than 90% of the workload only need to be considered. Appointment letters should not be in regional language, they should be in English. And appointment letters of full-time teachers, you need to have a document of that, right? And then the way you're going to calculate the percentages, number of full-time teachers divided by number of sanction posts. Are you able to fill them completely? And then we have to see that all these sanction posts, you should be able to fill that. So this is how we need to calculate it. Coming to 2.4.2, where the average percentage of full-time teachers with PhD. In the last list of teachers having doctorate degree, and these degrees should be from a UGC recognized university only. And this should be no honorary doctorate will be considered, and their certificates of doctorate degree you should be able to have as a documentation, a Xerox copy of that where it has been authenticated, right? So this documentation should be there to show that they are full-time teachers with PhD. And coming to 2.4.3, average teaching experience, list of faculties from the date of appointment and the number of years of experience, and work experience of teacher in the institution only should be considered. Other institutions, the work experience is not considered. And appointment orders or experience certificate is a documentary evidence for the faculty that who are still there in the institution. Total teaching experience of full-time teachers divided by the number of full-time teachers during the latest completed year. You will be able to, using this formula, you will be able to get the value. And then percentage of full-time teachers working in the institution throughout the 5 years. For this, you need to, the formula is number of full-time teachers working in the institution throughout the 5 years divided by the number of full-time teachers worked in the institution during the first year of assessment. Are there still so many faculty who are in the first year? How many are there? After 5 years, how many are there? So it is like whether we are able to retain the faculty or not, they'll be able to test with that this particular metric. Now, if you see more than 90%, if the seats percentage of full-time faculty they've filled against the sanction, then you're going to get 4. And the percentage of full-time teachers with PhD, 70 more than 70%, then we are going to get 4. If it is less than 40%, then it is 0. So we need to see that at least 40% of the full-time faculty are PhD. Otherwise, 0 will be a mark if the percentage PhD faculty with PhD are not there. Then average teaching experience of full-time, it should be more than 15 years of experience should be there. That means they should be working in the institution for more than 15 years. Then you're going to get 4. If it is less than 6, then it is 0. So you need to see that how to retain the senior faculty is very, very important. Coming to evaluation process and response, which carries 50 marks. Now, in this 2.5.1, which is the quantitative metrics, 20 marks you have. Average number of days that you take from the last date of ending of the exam till the declaration of results. So you have to see that, I'll just get back to this, you have to see that you have to, if it is less than 20 days, you're going to get 4 marks. If it is more than 20 days, you can see the marks are 3 to 1 according to the number of days that you take for releasing the results, right? And then if you see 2.5.1, for that the documents are timetable you should attach or should upload as a document. Result sheet, the number of students you have, the result sheet will be signed by the competent authority, the controller of examination and the university officials if they are there. So date of publication. And before declaring the results, what is the procedure that you follow? What is the policy document? Like having a result review meeting and having a discussion on the results, and then after that declaring the results. What is the moderation of the marks that you do? And then what is the grace marks that you're going to allot? That policy document also, you should be able to upload it, right? And then, as I already told you this, yeah. Suppose when you're taking the declaration of results, if it is a semester, you should be taking the average of the days of the 2 semesters in the year, right? Then the complaints. Now, complaints or grievances are regarding the revaluation. How many people are applying for revaluation? Now, how many people appear and how many people are applying for revaluation or recounting? Because revaluation is for the UG, recounting is for PG. Because for PG we have a double valuation and also the third valuation is also there for some of the papers. We just go for recounting. So, number of complaints that you received in a year has to be recorded. Now, suppose a student in a semester wise, he has applied for evaluation in semester 1 and the same student has again applied in the semester 2. Then you need to take only one time. The same student, if he's applying for both the times, but only one complaint should be recorded when he's applying for both the semesters. In that way, the record should be there as a number of complaints. So you are going to calculate the percentage, like total number of complaints or grievances about evaluation and total number of students appeared. Now, if you see, if you have less than 1%, you're going to get 4 marks. Suppose if it is more than 15% of the students are applying for evaluation, then you will not get any marks. So you have to see how the complaints or the applying for evaluation can be reduced, right? So that is what is the 2.5.2. Now coming to 2.5.3. Now the documents that you upload for 2.5.2 is the list of the students who applied for evaluation or recounting or retotaling it is called, that list. So appeared list and applied list, both have to be uploaded. Then 2.5.3 is a qualitative metrics where you have to write minimum 500 words, where you will be writing under these 3 subheadings. What is your procedure? what is how much internal, how much external, what is the percentage of marks, and how do you conduct internal, whether you have two internals, average is taken. So clearly you have to mention about your examination procedure in your first subtopic. And under the second one, how are you integrating with the technology? Do you have any software of your own, or you're outsourcing the software? If you have your own software, the manual related to that, what exactly, how the usage of software is there, you need to have the process recorded. And then continuous internal assessment, how you go about doing it. Like, in our college, we have two internal 30-30 average of that, and we have a skill-based test, that is 10 marks in every subject. Two SBT, that is skill-based tests are conducted. Average 5 marks and 5 marks, that is of 10 marks. Total 40 marks are the internal system. So you need to mention very clearly about how do you continuously assess your student. Is it through quiz? Is it through a mini project that you're going to have? Or is it through an assignment that you're going to have? Or is it a group discussion? Is it a case study analysis? So how are you going to assess your student? So that clarity you need to give here, right? Now coming to 2.6, which is student performance and learning outcome, which carries 50 marks. Now, in this, the institution have to, this is a qualitative metric, to clearly state the learning outcomes and how you are going to attain that. So you need to upload your POs and COs for all the courses, and the links you need to give here, where it goes for 30 marks, because the outcomes are very important after the teaching learning process, right? And in the website, you need to clearly mention what are the program educational objectives, program specific outcomes, program outcomes, course objectives, everything need to be clearly mentioned, right? And then pass percentage of the students is 2.6.2, which is the quantitative metrics. Now, when you talk about the pass percentage, you need to number of students, that is only the students who have passed out in that particular year. Suppose 2023 batch students only we need to take. So number of final year or outgoing students and number of final year students who passed that. Backlogs students should not be taken into account here. That is what. So annual report highlighting the pass percentage, and then a certified report indicating the pass percentage of the final year students have to be taken here. So if the pass percentage is 90%, then you get going to get only 0 marks if it is less than 60%, right? Now coming to 2.7, which is the last key indicator under the teaching learning, student satisfaction survey, which carries 50 marks. So in this, this is an online student satisfaction survey, which which is one of the 60 marks is for affiliated colleges, and then for autonomous colleges 50 marks. Now, this is the most important metric which carries the highest weightage, and 20% of the students should have to give the response minimum, and then response should not be from the same device, and every year the institution should have a practice of circulating the same questionnaire as SSS, right? Because when you are submitting the AQR, you need to see that the student satisfaction survey is submitted. Now, the data template should consist of the name, the class, and the gender, and student roll number or ID number, and Aadhaar number, then mobile number, then email ID, and to which degree. So, database of the currently, the whichever year you're submitting the SSR, currently enrolled students need to be prepared and then shared with the NAAC along with the online submission of this. So this is regarding the last key indicator, which is online student satisfaction survey, right? So I think you have got a good picture about all the key indicators and key metrics. Then how, what is the weightage that is given for each of the metric, and then how you need to focus, where you need to improve upon. So that's what you need to remember, that together teaching, learning, and evaluation is a foundation if you want to enhance the education excellence or quality of education. All these three need to
focus on more, because transacting the curriculum is very, very important rather than just preparing the curriculum. When you want the students to achieve the highest order thinking levels, it is the way you teach is important. The way you use the activities is very important, right? Based on your teaching only, the methodology only, the evaluation should be there, right? Now, when where you're evaluating the students, if you don't teach the way it has to be taught, you cannot evaluate them correctly for the highest order level thinking. So you need to see that students develop critical thinking skills when you're teaching, right? So effective teaching cultivates that engaged and empowered learners, and then active learning, when you're having not just the passive learning, it promotes the critical thinking, creativity, and adaptability, right? And then assessment and evaluation, what you undertake, the rubrics that you have clearly spelled out, how you are evaluating the students, will give the insights how you have to go about refining your strategies, education strategies, and achieving the desired learning outcomes. Now, the power of education is how you empower the individuals to full potential is very important. So you need to see as a teacher how you're going to drive that innovation. Because when you make an individual think critically, societal progress will be there. And then when the societal progress is there, then only it is better future for all. Because you are going to churn out those students who are going to be the national builders, right? So we need to see how we do justice when we are teaching the students and having the right learning environment in your institution, right? So with this, I end it. And if any questions are there, I would like to take it. Thank you.